It's a really good statistic actually that was done, and so I'll give you an example.
Now look at atheists.
Just even in the last few decades, millions of people have died, civilians.
Last decade, 10 years.
Last few decades.
Few decades.
Yeah.
Okay.
Millions of lives. Just the war on terror has killed 4 million innocent lives. Just the war on terror. Innocent.
Which countries? You're looking at Iraq,
Afghanistan, Libya, Somalia, all of these countries. More than 4 million lives have been lost, yes. More than 4 million. So the statistics actually are in our favor when you actually look at the raw data and actually do not support the notion that there's somehow intrinsically...
But that's not a religious war, are you, surely?
What is it?
Like Libya.
But the point I'm trying to make to you is, humankind has the propensity for violence.
Of course.
Regardless of religion or no religion being there.
I've already said
So to suggest...
There's no suggestion.
Well, you suggested that there are 10 million lives that are apparently lost in Muslim hands, with Muslims, right?
Statistical figure,
right?
Okay, that is taken raw.
Yes.
And like I said to you, I was surprised.
Yes.
Until they gave the breakdown of what those figures comprised of.
Right, but the problem with that is that when you quote a statistic, you are clearly establishing some sort of precedence from that, or a conclusion, or an inference from that.
That's just one bit.
Yeah, but otherwise it's
that's why
the statistic is meaningless.
No, it is not meaning, because every life that dies is a wasted life.
That's that's a false, that's a fallacious argument you just made there. No, it's a fallacious argument. I'll tell you why it's fallacious. Because nobody's saying that lives are not important here.
No. You said, and I agreed with you, that there's always been violence and killings in humanity. As far as history goes.
Yes.
You can take from the Romans, the Byzantinians, Ottomans, the Vikings.
Yeah.
There's always been killing.
Yes.
And if you collectively include everything, Second World War, I just walked past all those
monuments,
monuments,
right.
Wellington and all that. These guys have got blood in dripping off their hands.
Yeah, of course.
So, there's been killing non-stop in this world. Right now, there's deaths going on in Ukraine and places like Sudan and all that. So, yes, that's one of the terrible drawbacks of humanity, the greed, the propensity to violence, the military establishment, the military-industrial complex that generates war, just to ensure that their survival, you see. So I'm not mincing those words. And simply to focus on Islamic war, it would be unfair. There I agree with you. But pure figures, like I said, 35 to 40 years, the figures of Islamic death in the hands of Muslims is this.
Yes.
That's all.
No, but you see,
you want to accept that?
No. But the point I'm trying to make to you is, a statistic by itself is irrelevant.
Why?
I'm explaining that to you. I'm qualifying my statement.
Okay.
If it doesn't establish something more meaningful than just the figure itself. So just to suggest that this has happened without inferring anything or drawing any conclusions, the statistic becomes meaningless. So that's why.
Says, there's a tree there.
No, but I'm asking you, what do you infer or suggest as a consequence of quoting those statistics to me? What is the meaning behind it that you wish to establish? Because otherwise it's just a statistic. Because let me ask you a question. If Islam indeed, as I've argued with you, ranks very low on the killing that's representative of different groups, including atheists, then the statistic actually established that Islam actually intrinsically is less violent, or Muslims are less violent than other groups. That's what it establishes, you see.
And so I said to you,
and so my argument to you is that that's what these statistics seem to show.
I hate the word argument. I'm not arguing with you.
Well, when I say argument, I don't mean an argument. No, but it's a figure of speech. Okay. An argument can be a discussion.
If I said to you, okay, I wholeheartedly endorse what you just said to me. Yeah. Let's move on, okay?
Yes.
And I said, okay, those 10 million Muslims who died in the 40 years or 35 years, let's just bury them and just move on, okay?
I'm not saying bury them. I'm saying look at it in the context of the overall picture, which then gives you a more reasonable grasp of reality. Because to look at individual statistics upon their own, without making that wider comparison, will give you a very skewed understanding of a particular subject.
Of course, I said you cannot go all the way back to Genghis Khan and start.
I'm not saying you should do that.
Yeah.
I'm saying even if you look at the last century.
You have to, take a snapshot.
Yes.
And within living memory, like I said,
I agree.
30, 40 years.
I agree.
Yeah. So, go back to what you started by saying is the Islam, and I've got lots of questions. Like I said to you, I was here 2 weeks ago, and
can I deal with your question of apostasy? Because you mentioned that if somebody leaves Islam, that they're killed, right? So the ruling of apostasy is more comparative to desertion, or not desertion, rather, sorry, of what's the word I'm looking for?
Disloyalty.
No, it's not disloyalty. It's actually treason. It's considered a form of treason, and the law of treason, even in the United States of America, for example, carries the capital punishment. In England, we can once again bring that law into effect at times of war, for example, if somebody does a treasonous act. Obviously, the reason why we have such a strict punishment for something like this is because it generally can be very harmful to the safety and security and stability of a nation. Now, let me just explain to you and qualify that. In Islam, if you as a Muslim decided not to pray, not to fast, not to believe in God, and went along your merry ways to lead your life away from Islam, the government nor the people have any right to impose upon you any form of a punishment. If, however, you come out into the public arena and you openly apostatize, this is now seen as a form of going against the state, a treasonous act which destabilizes society and potentially acts as a means for others to also fall into disbelief. And for us, the greatest harm for an individual is to end in the hellfire. So it's also a form of protection for others, that they're not dragged into, because a person may be very eloquent, they may be very persuasive.
Okay, can I come in?
And so as a consequence, it prevents that from happening. But what you do in the private setting, whether and the Quran says this, believe or disbelieve, it gives you the choice.
Where does it say?
In the Quran.
Where?
La ikraha fi din. There is no compulsion in religion.
What number is that?
We can find the exact verse for you. It's in Surah
225.
Surah Baqarah, I think.
I think it's the second surah.
Yeah.
It's about halfway through.
Yeah, halfway through, yeah. So it clearly says there is no compulsion in religion.
Okay.
This verse was revealed when in Medina, when the Arabs had a custom.
All right, I'd like to come in, when you finish.
No problem. Okay, why don't you come in?
Yeah, okay. Now, if this says in the Quran, you said, and what surah was that it says where, it is a treason?
I'm not saying it says it in a surah that it's treason. I'm saying that it's seen as an act of treason because
what number is that?
I didn't say it was in the Quran in a surah specifically as treason. I didn't say that to you.
No. It's not that?
Did I say that to you? Why are you assuming that it is?
No, because I saw it, so I'm asking.
Where does it say that it's considered to be treason?
I remember it. You see, I saw it.
I don't remember a specific verse claiming that it's treason.
Oh, I hope I can remember it.
But please make your point, though. Make your point.
Now, what you're saying in Surah 2 to whatever, that there's no
compulsion in religion.
Okay? And then you're saying in the other Surah, if you turn against, then the state will.
No, it said either believe or disbelieve.
When you talk, I'll listen.
No, but I'm saying that it doesn't say that. What you're saying it doesn't say.
Yeah. Can you please let me talk?
Yeah.
And then I'll let you talk.
Please, go ahead.
And in the other surah, it says that if you turn against, or what you use the word, treasonous, I understand what you mean, then the state would say you're a danger to
Where
us.
does it say that in the Quran? Sorry.
I don't know, so I'm asking you.
Well, I don't know of a verse that says this is treason and you've turned against a state.
No, the word treason was, you brought it out just now.
Yes.
I said disloyalty. That you leave Islam and turn your back or whatever. That's it, turn your back. That's the word. Okay? That's the word I remember now. That you should be put to death, you see. Something
Where,
like
where,
that.